Hi everyone, this is Mary Gregory with MAS Coding Solutions. Welcome to 2025. Oh my gosh, time is going so fast. You know when you're 20, it just seems like time moves a little slower. But buddy, when you get past 50, it's almost like it's flying out the door. So, welcome to 2025. This year we're going to do something a little bit different to help motivate you and to get you going for 2025. A while back I did this PowerPoint on strategies to continue learning when you feel worn out. You have come into 2025 and you're probably thinking, oh my God, I can't face another year like I had last year. And I'm talking professionally. Now, of course, there may be some things going on in your in your personal life as well that you're going to have to work with. You're going to have to come to terms with. And you know, one of the things I want to say is nothing is really fatal. A lot of times things happen in our lives and it seems fatal, but it's not. You might have lost a loved one, but it's not fatal. You're still here. You have to continue to live. Find something to live for. So I'm not going to get into that, but just remember, whatever happened to you, unless it kills you, literally kill you, it's not fatal. And it can and you can overcome it. So let's talk about our professional life for this year. What can we do? We're going to talk about some strategies for you to continue to learning when you feel worn out. Remember, a medical coder, we're always in that learning mode. I always say this is a lifelong learning career. This is a lifelong learning profession. Sometimes it's just us going back and relearning some things. Because a good coder always have to stay with the fundamentals. The fundamentals are not changing out there. So let's talk about what we can do to continue our learning journey. So in this PowerPoint, it's just 15 pages. I'm not going to elaborate on every page very much, but we're going to talk about, in my introduction, I talk about what we want to look at. We want to know why continuous learning is essential. We want to talk about learning when you're depleted. Sometimes you feel like I just cannot make another move. I tell people sometimes I don't want to think that hard. And also we're going to talk a little bit about challenging your belief about learning, what you think about learning. We're going to explore some diverse learning methods here. We're going to talk about learning to work with your brain. We're going to challenge some of your beliefs about how you learn and how you can make connection through learning. And of course, then we're going to come to the conclusion. Why continuous learning is essential. It advances you as a coder. It keeps you relevant. It helps you to avoid being left behind by the competition. It ensures your current skills remain in demand, or you're going to learn some new skills. So continuous learning is essential for those reasons. You always want to advance yourself as a leader if that's where you want to go. And just remember this, and I tell people all the time, when you become a medical coder and you're good at it, people going to see you as a leader. Whether you see yourself or not, they're going to come to you for solutions. When they have a problem, they're coming to you. They want you to help solve it. Why is our DNFB high, low? Why is it low? Why did our discharge not file a bill? That's how they count their money at the end of the month. Discharge not file a bill. Okay, so they're going to come to you and say, why is it low? Or they're going to come and congratulate you when it's high. Man, our DNFB went up, and that DNFB represents money. They may say, well, we just decided we want to do this new procedure. What do you think about it? That's why you as a coder, you always have to be learning. You always have to be growing. And you definitely want to be relevant. So many people say, I can't get a promotion. I can't move. Are you being relevant? Then that's what you need to do. Let's move on. They said more than half of the workers feel used up at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you may be like me sometimes. I just can't think anymore. I can't think harder. Now, every day for a coder is not a bad day. It's not. So, you're going to feel used up some days, but you shouldn't feel that every day. We have limited energy to pursue growth activities. That's how we feel. We're like, man, my energy, I just can't grow no more. Is that true or not? We have how we learn when we're depleted. The mental burden of not meeting potential is as taxing as overtime. A lot of times we set up a lot of goals that's not realistic. And then when we don't meet them, we are mentally wiped out, so to speak, because we didn't meet that goal. So we spend a lot of time. That's very taxing to spend that time. Sometimes when you're trying to learn, when you're depleted, choose some high impact topics. Something that's going to challenge you really. And you have to learn how to use passive learning techniques. You're going to have to embrace micro-learning. Sometimes we want to learn how to be a Rome in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. And they say the best way to eat an elephant is one chunk at a time. Sometimes that's the best way for us to learn. Take something, a micro-learning, and learn one little piece of it. I know sometimes that's something I struggle with, that I want to learn the whole thing at one time. But sometimes I just got to take a little piece of it. Always get some rest. Don't skip rest. Get some rest. And get some relaxation. I want you to learn to challenge your belief about learning. What do you believe about learning? Do you observe your fatigue without judgment? We get tired. Don't judge yourself because you get tired. Have you ever questioned your preconception and say, well, I can't learn that? Why? You got to learn to adopt a growth mindset. You got to learn to leverage multiple learning styles. You can't say, well, I'm just a visual person. I'm just visual. Well, that may be true, but you can learn some other styles as well. You got to learn, especially with coding, you got to learn to embrace critical thinking skills. You're also going to have to take time for reflection and rest. That's really hard for me. I don't want to rest. I feel like I'm the Energizer Bunny sometimes. I want to go, go, go. No, you got to take time for rest. And you know what I'm discovering? When I take that time for rest, I think better. I really do. I realized several years ago, when I was really in my prime of coding, that when I was really, really tired, I was not a good coder. And when I took time to rest, I really was a much better coder, and I got more done. Learn the power of yet. Y-E-T, yet. What do you say yet? Say, look, I may want to fly to the moon, but I can't do it yet. But I can do it. You may have a family. You may be a young coder, and you got a young family. Well, don't sacrifice your family for coding. Just remember, I can't do it yet, but they're going to grow up. See? So, learn the power of yet. Learn to embrace your mistakes as part of learning. Accept the fact that you don't know everything. Because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. Accept that. Embrace it. And I know that's hard for us coders because we always feel like we're in competition. What are some of the diverse learning methods? Well, you can experiment with problem-based learning. That's where you take in coding, you take a coding scenario or something you never coded before and you code it. You can utilize teaching as a learning tool. When you teach somebody else, you learn. I know that's how I keep relevant, by doing these videos. You can explore different learning technologies. Oh, there's so much out there that we can learn from, especially with AI now. Rotate your learning style. Don't stay stuck in one style. Learn to rotate. Blend group and independent learning. I personally don't like group learning, but it's something I've learned to accept. I can learn from a group. I'm much more of an independent person, but there are times I do have to participate in a group. And also learn to incorporate some of your real life experiences, your application to that. Alrighty, and what are some of your diverse learning methods that we have out there? We have all kind of visual tools. Now when they say visual, they're talking about diagrams, they're talking about flow charts, they're talking about mind maps. Maybe you can take a mind map and apply it to a coding. This is step one, this is step two, this is step three. Step one is I go to the index. Step two is I look at the tablet. And I know we use a lot of coding tools now, electronic tools, but once again, think about how that visual tool can help you. Be an auditory learner. You may have to begin to listen to tapes. You're going to listen to lectures, online classes. Hands-on learning. Of course, hands-on learning is the best to me. That's where you practice by doing. Learn to rotate your study method. You can read sometime, you can listen sometime, and so you can rotate those. Leverage group learning. You can learn from someone else. Now, I know sometimes you get in a group and you think, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in this group. But try to learn something from everybody. Use games and quizzes. I'm not a gamer, but they seem to love this gamification is what they call it. So learn to use that as well. They talk about work with your brain and not against your brain. How do we do that? Use spaced repetition. Review material at a increasing interval over time. You can use some different apps. Get chunking information. Take a huge chunk of information and break it down into little bitty chunks like that. Do some visualization techniques. You can do some distributed practice stuff. Contextual learning. They talk about how you can study in various settings, different locations. Sometimes because I don't get to be outside a lot, when it's spring and summer, I love being outside. And I have taken my code books because I do work from home. I've taken my code books. I set me up a little room where the sunlight come in, got a lot of windows, and it's just wonderful. Make an emotional connection to your learning. Align your learning with your values to make it meaningful to you. Make it personal to you. Set meaningful goals. Just don't throw any goals out there. I'm thinking this year, I don't know if I'm even going to set a goal, except to live better, to be a better person. Not just be a better coder, but be a better person. And I'm going to reflect on my progress. And then the next one is you want to focus on solving urgent problems. Identify and prioritize truly urgent tasks. What's really important? They said we spend way too much time, on 80% of the stuff that's not going to produce any results. Learn to concentrate on the 20% that's going to produce the result. And not everything is a priority. That's they have this saying, I think, going around where when somebody comes to you with a problem, they say, well, that's your problem, not my problem. Your problem does not make it be an emergency for me, something of that nature. So you got to prioritize, and one of the biggest things, you got to learn to say no. Everything is not important. Say no. Break tasks into smaller steps, they tell us. Use a 10-minute rule on it. Can I solve this in 10 minutes? If I can't solve it in 10 minutes, maybe it needs to go on tomorrow's to-do list, or next month to-do list. Focus on solutions, not perfection. Can you solve the problem? Don't try to be perfected. Don't try to be a perfectionist. Perfectionist? Yeah, perfectionist. Everything, you don't need to be, everything don't have to be perfect. Just get it solved. Limit your distraction. And I think that can be really hard when you work from home. You can have a lot of distractions, but you got to learn to limit those distractions. You got to cut the door, shut the door and say, do not disturb, put a do not disturb. Take short breaks. I have been doing this for the last year. I have an alarm that I set on my desk. That alarm, I work for 30 minutes to an hour. Definitely, I'm going to work more than 30 minutes. Usually I set mine for an hour. Now you can do more than that. And after an hour, I would get up and take a little short break just to walk around the room or something like that. Not no 15 or 20 minutes, but just a little short break to work around. but take short breaks. You got to get up from your desk, okay? And also delegate when possible. You don't have to do everything, okay? Us women, we really bad at that. We think we got to do it all. No, you can delegate, okay? What are some of the hindrances to continuing learning? What are our hindrances? Well, one of the biggest part is we have a lack of time management skill. You got to improve that. I have to improve it. Everybody have to improve it. Multitasking. Us women, we think we're the best at multitasking. But is it a blessing or is it a curse? Multitasking sometimes can be a curse because we spreading ourselves too thin. We're trying to do way too much in a short period of time. Planning to do more than is possible. Oh boy, we guilty of that. And be aware of your time zone. Because we work remotely, your time zone, I'm in Eastern time. You might be in Mountain time. And so once again, if I'm your boss in Eastern time, I got to remember you in Mountain time, and vice versa. You have to remember that other people's in different time zones. And so be aware of your time zone and make sure you get the appropriate amount of rest and you know when to contact people. So let's conclude this today. Our conclusion is this. Number one, coding is a lifelong learning career journey. Okay? There's so many avenues to explore in coding, and it seems to be getting more and more. I think AI is definitely changing the way we do things. I don't think AI is necessarily going to eliminate coders. If so, I think we got another 10 years before it totally happened. I don't know. I could be wrong. But just remember, if you're fearful that AI is going to take your job, start looking and preparing and see what else can you do, even in the coding field. Coding guidelines are not necessarily changing, but the industry is. So we got new technology going on, we got new ways of teaching, we got new ways of learning, and so make sure that you tap into those things. And stop being too busy to learn. That's another great excuse. Oh, I'm just too busy, I don't have time. Take the time to learn, take the time to grow, and you will not regret it. Okay, and that ends our presentation for this year. Go out and do good things.